Go. Okay, wait for some people to filter in. How's it going, everyone? New York Giants versus the Kansas City Chiefs. ASAP coming in hot. How's everyone's night going? Are you guys excited? I'm excited. I feel like we can win this game, Anthony. Tell me we can't win this game. Tell me that we're gonna get blown out right now because I won't believe you.
I don't know. We might get blown out.
I don't think so. I'm feeling good. I don't know why, but I feel better than I should about this game. Vitalis Wag Cage. I don't know how to pronounce that. Defense is key to winning this game. That's true. I don't want it to be a shootout. If it ends up being a shootout, we're probably going to lose. But if we can hold their offense, to at least maybe 25 points, we can win this game. What's going on, Yuri? How's it going? Score prediction. We'll get to that in a bit. We'll get to that. It'll be one of the last things that we do, but we'll give our score prediction. Don't you worry. I don't want to jinx it too early. And Super Taj World, what's going on, my friend? Ryan, I bet the over 20.5 points. Let's go. I actually put a prop bet that Daniel Jones will have 2 touchdown passes. I don't think that's crazy. It was a great prop bet too. It was like bet 10, win like 30. So I kind of thought that was a good one, especially with this terrible Chiefs offense or rather defense. I think that Daniel Jones can absolutely score 2 passing touchdowns. Ontero, what's going on, my guy? Chap City. Let's go. Phil Snow having drinks and abnormally excited. I feel you. I don't know why, but I also feel you. Cesar, what's good, my friend? Matt Boy, hammer Giants money line. You know I already did. You already know I hammered the Giants money line. Matt. And Michael McVeigh, let's go. Joka. I'm having my drinks just in case of core. A little extra, a little bleach in your drink just in case that the Giants end up losing big by halftime. But I'll tell you what, I'm feeling good. And the reason predominantly is because Kadarius Toney is playing, right? How much better do you feel about this game just because Kadarius Toney's on the field?
I feel a lot better about this game with Kadarius Toney on the field. He is the offensive spark plug that we needed. He is the X factor of this game. He is the true playmaker that the Giants offense was missing up until this point with all of the injuries, even with all of the struggles just from the play calling aspect. We finally got Kadarius Toney. He came in, looked like a true stud, got injured, knocked right out, but now he's back, and I think that he can be the guy that takes this Giants offense from mediocrity to being above average and maybe even being really good, especially on a night like tonight where we're matched up against a very bad defense. So he is the number one key Giant factor player for this game outside of Daniel Jones for me, and I think that he might be in line for a huge Monday Night Football primetime household recognition game with this performance that he can put up against a really bad Chiefs defense.
Absolutely. And Yuri, my man, much love. Appreciate it. Off topic. I didn't know Azeez Ojulari had a baby brother, BJ Ojulari. I did not know that either. At LSU has 6 sacks, maybe in 2 years. Definitely a possibility a couple of years from now that we might look at him. Obviously, they have some insider information. But Stacy, New York Giants, underdogs. I like that. Me too. I'm okay with being the underdogs. I feel like this is a trap game for the Chiefs. Everyone's saying the Chiefs are coming off Tennessee. They want to win. They want to get back in the winning category. They don't have Mike Remmers. They don't have Shadarius Ward. They don't have a couple of guys. So they're missing some offensive line pieces. They're missing some defensive pieces, and it's our bad unit. And Tony and Anthony and I had the conversation this week, right? Who would you rather have on offense, Kadarius Toney or Kenny Golladay? Because right now it's like either or. Like we don't know who's going to be healthy at this point. So it's like, who would you rather have on offense to spark a big game? And at this point, I actually think that I'd rather have Kadarius Toney. And he's only a rookie, and mainly because he kind of covers up a lot of the issues on the offensive line, right? Like offensive line is a big problem for the Giants, has been the past couple of years. Nate Solder's the turnstile. Matt Pert, we don't know what we're going to get from him tonight. Andrew Thomas has been injured this year for a couple of weeks. And Kadarius Toney against teams with bad secondaries like the Chiefs do is going to feast in the short to intermediate portions of the field. He doesn't even need to finish these big crossing routes or get deep. All he needs is a couple of feet of space, get the ball, and then make a move. He has 3.8 yards of separation this year, the highest among any Giants wide receiver, and he's also top 10 in the league in that category as well. So I'm pretty excited to see him really come in healthy because they didn't even bring him and say he's going to be a pregame questionable kind of player. They came here saying he's going to play. I know a couple of reporters already said he was already penciled in to play. Him and Sterling Shepard will be active tonight. That's a huge just kind of reality for the Giants, knowing that their strategy changes exponentially. But Anthony, what do you want to see from this team, this offensive unit today? Do you want to see them taking shots downfield, slowing the game down, establishing the run? Well, how do you beat the Chiefs here? Because obviously we want to take those big chunk plays and maximize them, but we also want to control the clock. And that's what Tennessee did last week with Derrick Henry, a strong running game. They controlled the clock and they kicked some ass.
Yeah, how I want to beat the Chiefs is run the offense through Daniel Jones. Okay, I want to see Daniel Jones run the ball. I want to see him pass the ball. Yes, take some deep shots, but also the Kansas City Chiefs are the fourth worst defense in the NFL against yards after the catch. They're allowing the fourth most yards after the catch out of all defenses. So let's throw some screen passes to Kadarius Toney. Let's have some shallow crossers to him, to Sterling Shepard, who can also get busy after the catch, and even, hate to say it, Evan Engram, pretty good after the catch for a tight end. We've seen it before. I know he's really not that good this year, especially, but there are moments where he takes a little drag route or a little shallow crosser and just turns upfield and gains a bunch of yards. That is a strong possibility. It's something that Evan Engram can do. He does have that in his bag of tiny little tricks. So maybe try and get him set up on some plays like that. But of course, the main players that you want to get running after the catch are Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard. Those guys, you got to get the ball in space, throw some screen passes, some jet sweeps, some end arounds, some trick plays, whatever you got to do just to give Kadarius Toney a chance to make a catch and then a run. You got to do it because that's where he is so lethal. He was the best yards after the catch receiver in this past draft class, and he already looks to be translating that skill set from college right into the NFL. He's been so good after the catch in the NFL so far. So that's definitely the number one thing for me. Take advantage of that, the Chiefs' poor tackling after the catch, create some yards after the catch opportunities with the play calls, and then, of course, run it through Daniel Jones. Let him be the quarterback that just carries us to an upset victory. Let him get busy on the ground, read options, RPOs, all that kind of stuff. Let Danny dime. Let him throw some deep shots, but really just run the offense. Make it a Daniel Jones and Kadarius Toney game.
Absolutely. And Yuri, appreciate the generation donation as well again. And I hope he pick on DeAndre Baker too, man. I mean, I don't think he starts. He's kind of a reserve guy. If there's injury, if there's fatigue, whatever it might be, someone's getting beat up a little bit, DeAndre Baker comes in. Hopefully the Giants look at him and say, we know he stinks. We saw what he did with us a couple of years ago. And then he had a really bad, unfortunate leg break last year, I believe. And, that ended his season prematurely. So I'm hoping that the Giants can pick on these corners, man. They got L'Jarius Sneed. They don't have much talent. At cornerback, Daniel Sorensen is as arguably one of the worst safeties in the league right now. He's had an awful season. Tyrann Mathieu is obviously fantastic, but when you don't think about being safeties, you need to have good secondary pieces around you, whether it be corners. You need to have that good strong safety. Tyrann Mathieu is kind of like floating, plays free safety, a little bit of strong safety at times. And I think that when you don't have those other pieces around you, it really puts you at a liability when you're in the deeper portions of the field. So I don't think that he's going to be a difference maker in this game. I think the Giants will try and stay away from him and really just target, they'll spread it out. I love it when the Giants play the spread. It really gives them a lot of room to work with and opens up the offense. I hate it when Jason Garrett calls these plays that it's like, you're rolling out to one side of the field. There's two guys running routes and everything's covered up. I want them to get really, really spread out, utilize the entire field. That's how good teams win. They use the whole field to their advantage. They don't smush themselves into 10 yards, which is what the Giants do in the red zone. And it pisses me off to no end. But Caesar, I'm really glad KT's playing tonight. You know how much I love him. I'm always posting about him on social. And Steven, let's freaking go, my man. I hope you're having a great night. Okay, that's a good question, AJ. This is a really good question. What do you expect from Aaron Robinson and Ellerson Smith in their debut? I don't expect Ellerson Smith to get many reps, maybe 5 snaps, maybe a situational, maybe get him in on a third down, get him in early in the downs just to see what he can do. It's going to be, last resort. I don't think he'll get much reps, if any at all. Maybe just be on the sideline for the first game. Aaron Robinson, though, I think he's going to get some reps tonight, mainly because losing Jabril Peppers is a really big loss for this defense. And Aaron Robinson kind of has that that big nickel feel to him. That's what a lot of people and reporters were saying they expected Aaron Robinson to be. Obviously the injury held him back, but they think he's going to be that man coverage kind of nickel linebacker that's going to be able to, not really a linebacker, but more of this big corner who you can kind of put against the run, but you can also use in the slot, and then you can also use in zone. And I'm really curious to see how they actually use Aaron Robinson, Anthony. But when you're looking at those two guys, how do you think they make an impact early, if at all? Because I know they probably don't want to rely on these two guys against such a potent offense. So try to take advantage of them.
I'm not exactly sure if Ellerson Smith is playing tonight. Someone else in this chat said that he didn't get activated. Even if he is or isn't, he wouldn't really have much of a big impact, just being completely honest. The expectations, realistically, for a guy like Ellerson Smith are to contribute on special teams. We're not talking about him getting a sack defensively. That just wouldn't happen, okay? Like, he's barely going to sniff the field on the defensive side of the ball. He would probably just line up in the field goal formations and try to block a kick. And the odds of him doing so are incredibly low because blocking kicks generally are incredibly low chance plays. So that plus Aaron Robinson, I do think that if he is activated, he's going to be playing a lot tonight, I think, because he is probably going to be filling in. They haven't been too crazy about Darnay Holmes. He hasn't been playing a whole lot until obviously Rodarius Williams was injured. They wanted Rodarius Williams to be that full-time nickel corner. Then he got injured, so Darnay Holmes stepped back into that role. But now with Jabril Peppers out as well, you're probably going to see Aaron Robinson play that nickel role, but also play that big nickel role, as you just mentioned, Alex. Probably try and play a little bit of a hybrid safety / cornerback, because with Jabril Peppers out of the game, I mean, he plays a role in Patrick Graham's defense that is very specific, and there aren't too many players on this roster that can play that role. So if they did draft Aaron Robinson with that role in mind, saying he might be able to play this role, then they're probably going to give him some run in that position, let him run that position a little bit and see if he can make anything of that position and accomplish anything successful there, and maybe one day fit into that role in a much larger capacity. So yeah, that's probably what we're going to see from Aaron Robinson, playing a lot in the slot. He might move outside a little bit, but mainly I think he's primarily going to be guarding tight ends. I think you're going to see him going up against Travis Kelce for the most part. Travis Kelce being such a weapon. I don't think you see Aaron Robinson matched up on Tyreek Hill from the slot, right? I think you're going to see him lined up on Travis Kelce because he is a larger, more physical cornerback that can get in tight ends' faces and hopefully jam them at the line and maybe slow them down just a little bit. So that's probably where Aaron Robinson's usage is going to come into play.
So I'm not worried about the boundaries. I'm worried about the middle of the field with the defense specifically, because I think the Giants will say, you know, Adoree Jackson, we're going to have him play on Tyreek Hill's side. We're going to have James Bradbury play opposite. I think they're just going to shut down the boundaries, and they're going to really try to lock down the middle of the field, you know, with those linebackers, with, you know, not having Jabril Peppers really hurts. But Aaron Robinson, I think we actually might see him play a little bit more than you think. I know a lot of people are saying that Ellerson Smith is not activated, which is not surprising at all. I think Quincy Roche is getting some reps. Obviously, Lorenzo Carter's out. They brought up Trent Harris, who's had some good performances in the past. And he's, you know, he has a couple of years of experience. So I think they probably just go with him today as more of a supplemental rotational role. But that middle of the field, Anthony, that's going to be the section where we live and die. You know what I mean? Because I think you have Adoree Jackson, you got James Bradbury, you got two high safeties, which, you know, Patrick Mahomes is seeing more two high safety looks than any other quarterback in the league. The middle of the field is where we have to play well. We're going to shut down the boundaries. But do we trust Tay Crowder? You know, do we trust Bernard McKinney? Do we trust Xavier McKinney to step up and help that middle? Do we trust Logan Ryan, who is going to be a big factor in helping shut down those hooks in the middle of the field and really locking down Travis Kelce up the seams? You know, I think that there's two big players that need to show up today. Actually, three. I'm going to say three. Adoree Jackson, because I think he's going to be predominantly on Tyreek Hill. He's going to be working hard on him. I think Leonard Williams up against backup. I think it's Lucas Niang, because Mike Remmers is out at right tackle. So Leonard Williams has a great opportunity to take advantage of that mismatch. And I think Logan Ryan has to have a big game, because I think they're going to say, Logan, your job, stop Travis Kelce. Make sure he doesn't get yards after catches. Try to disrupt some passes, create some incompletions. I think those three players are going to be the catalyst on defense for this Giants team. But Anthony, you know, when you're thinking about a couple guys here, you know, and after Anthony gives his take, we'll answer some questions and some thoughts for you guys in the chat.
Which exact take do you want me to give on which player?
Just the three players you think that are essential. And yeah, DeAndre Baker's inactive, so
DeAndre Baker is inactive. So yeah, DeAndre Baker's inactive. Three players that I think need to have key performances tonight: Daniel Jones, Kadarius Toney. We already really discussed them. Azeez Ojulari is a big name. He needs to have a good night. He had a phenomenal performance last week against the Carolina Panthers. I'm looking at him specifically. But another player I will point out, since we've already covered the other three, I will point out Xavier McKinney. I think that he needs to have a good performance. I think you just mentioned Logan Ryan on Travis Kelce. I think Xavier McKinney, he's already got a couple of interceptions this year. He's been playing some really good football, and I think that he fits more into the Jabril Peppers role than anybody. I know we just mentioned Aaron Robinson might be able to fit into that role that Jabril Peppers played, but I think that Xavier McKinney plays that role the best. He is more of a traditional strong safety. Now, of course, that was a hybrid strong safety role that Peppers was playing, but Xavier McKinney, he has played a little bit of free safety for the Giants as well. He has even played in the slot, so he's probably going to play that hybrid role that Jabril Peppers was playing for the most part and become more of a focal point in the Giants' defensive secondary.
Yeah, that's what we hope. But Nate, what's up, guys? Starting KT and DJ in fantasy. I actually am as well. I benched Justin Herbert this weekend for Daniel Jones. Some might call me crazy, but if you look, Justin Herbert had a crap day. I don't know why I did that, but it just felt right. I said KC's defense is absolute Swiss cheese. I feel like Kadarius Toney is going to play. I feel like he's going to make things happen. He's going to have a couple of receiving touchdowns. I just dropped my stat line. And drop your stat line in the chat right now. What do you think Kadarius Toney's final line is going to look like? I said 135 yards, all-purpose, and 2 touchdowns. Am I crazy for that? Absolutely not. The guy put up 185 yards and was about 2 feet away from 2 separate touchdowns, and they have a better defense than the freaking Chiefs. So I really, really think if Kadarius Toney can stay healthy in this game, we're going to see one of the best performances from a receiver that we've seen in a long time, and we just saw one from him a couple of weeks ago. I really do think that he's going to have a crazy great game if he stays healthy in this one, knock on wood. I'm really, really excited to see what he can do because nobody can stop him, man. I mean, they went up against against the Saints, right? He goes up against the Saints, and he destroys a very good Saints defense. Did you see what they just did to Tampa yesterday with Trevor Siemian at quarterback? Kadarius Toney forced 5 missed tackles in that game. 5 missed tackles. That's pretty insane. So I'm pretty excited to see what he can accomplish today. This is a primetime showdown. I don't think he was going to miss this for anything, Anthony. What do you think his final line is going to look like?
I put it in the chat, 75 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. I don't expect Kadarius Toney to just go off for 150 yards every single week. I don't think it's realistic. You have to remember, he's a rookie. He's still figuring things out. He'll probably have a drop pass in this game. You know, like he is a young player that's learning how to play the NFL game. And yes, he's learning very quickly. He is, and he already looks extremely talented. That was a historic performance that he had against Dallas with 196 all-purpose yards. But going forward, I'm not expecting him to go off for over 100 yards every single game. I think a more realistic and manageable stat line to expect for him is 75 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. I think that's very realistic for Kadarius Toney. It's something that he can absolutely accomplish, and I think that he will accomplish a similar stat line to the one that I had commented below.
Yeah, I mean, look, if he goes for 135 and 2 touchdowns, oh my God, I would be out of my mind. I would be so excited about that kind of production from a receiver for the Giants. And, you know, that's why I'm saying, like, he really is, like, most of our offense right now. But I also think Sterling Shepard's going to have a good game. I'm not discounting him. You know, I really do think that if we win this game specifically, Anthony, you know, what happens, right? Like, what happens if the Giants win this game? It really changes everything. It changes everything for the rest of the season. It says that we can beat good teams. You know, Kansas City's no pushover. They're a good team. And I will say I'm pretty like confident that if we do win this game, it'll prove to everybody that we can move forward and maybe beat some of these teams. I mean, we saw the Chargers really struggle. I think they lost on Sunday. And yes, I'm very optimistic, but at the same time, I really do want to see this team turn it around. It would really make the rest of the season a lot more exciting because I really would hate for them to lose this game, lose the next couple of games, and everyone be checked out by week 11 against the Buccaneers when they're going to get blown out again. So it's like, let's really win this game, guys. I know losing Jabril sucks, but he's only played about 49% of defensive snaps anyway. I would love to see them get John Ross involved as a kick returner. We need some more production from the kick returning team, you know? I like Jabril Peppers in that role, but that was the play he got absolutely destroyed with. You know, Jabril Peppers has had 2 season-ending injuries from being a punt returner. I don't understand why the Giants force feed their starters, force feed some of their more impactful players. Like, that's why you have Dante Pettis on the roster. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you have some of these guys that otherwise wouldn't see any snaps. You know, why else have them if they're not going to be used? You know, you don't have to do that. So, and chopped and screwed. All these injuries happening at MetLife. I mean, MetLife is a crap hole. We all know that. The turf is awful. They really have to make a change there. But Anthony, you know, is there anything in this game that stands out to you? Anything that you want to talk about? I know Kadarius Toney is going to, you know, have probably a pretty great game. And I think that he's going to be a lot of people's fantasy football killers this week. I especially need him in mind. I think I'm I'm down 110-68, and I have Darrell Williams, Kadarius Toney, and Daniel Jones. So I don't know if I'm feeling so good about it. I don't know how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I know I did secure a win in my fantasy league. I have Kadarius Toney playing, but it's literally just like additional points because I've already secured my win. So, but the fact that I put him in my lineup does say a lot. I am expecting him to have a big game. That's one of the main storylines of this game going into it. It's Kadarius Toney is playing for Giants fans. We're all super excited to watch some Toney time. Another storyline that I do want to mention, the Manning cast, right? Eli Manning, a pro Giants supporter, is going to be rooting on the Giants tonight while commentating about the Giants. Really not even commentating, but giving an analysis on the Giants in the Manning cast. I love the Manning cast. I think it's phenomenal. And I'm really excited to hear Eli Manning give his take on the Giants. I'm sure he'll go into more than just the current game. He'll probably discuss, the team as a whole, Daniel Jones' performance this season, what he sees from Kadarius Toney. And then, of course, I know he's interviewing Michael Strahan. So Michael Strahan will probably give some similar
That'll be
takes as
cool.
well. Yep, Strahan will be on the cast tonight. That's going to be really awesome. I'm really looking forward to that.
Anyone else?
No.
Did they drop anybody else?
There's 3 people. I think Josh Allen, Michael Strahan, and Jonathan Stewart. And there might be a 4th, but I think those are the 3. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really fun. And I'm definitely excited for the Manning cast. And of course, I'm just excited to hear Eli Manning's takes on the Giants. I think that's important, especially Allison asked it. It's on the bottom. If the Giants win tonight, what do you think will happen with the outlook on the season? Well, this is an important game for that because here's the main reason why this is so important. Tomorrow is the NFL trade deadline. So if the Giants lose today, we're sellers tomorrow.
Yep.
If we win today, I still think we should be sellers personally, taking the long-term outlook. But knowing Dave Gettleman and the Giants, they might just try and trade for somebody to boost this team and go for a run, and it might not work out. But this game tonight actually might be very determining of what we do tomorrow before the trade deadline. So that's important.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Are you buyers or are you sellers? This game kind of determines that, right? Either way, I think Evan Ingram's got to be on the go. I think the Green Bay Packers are a great team for him to potentially go to. They just lost Robert Tonyan. Obviously, that opens up a potential, trade opportunity for the Giants, whether it be a 4th or a 5th round pick. You get that selection now, man. You don't wait for the compensatory pack because who even knows what it's going to look like if they even get a pick. There's a possibility a team signs him to a 1-year deal and then has him prove it before they sign him to an extension. The guy hasn't proved he can catch the football. You know what I mean? Like, if I was another team and I was looking at Evan Ingram, I'm not giving him a 4-year deal. Why? Like, why would you pay him that much money when he hasn't proven he can be a consistently healthy but also catch the football? And I'll tell you what, Matt Boy, 9.5 in Evan Ingram, I wouldn't count on it. I'd rather be going for pretty much anybody else. He hasn't had I think he's had over 30 receiving yards this season on 2 occasions. Hasn't scored this season yet. He's been rather kind of absent. Obviously the calf injury has hindered him, but
I think the only way you get those 9.5 points is if Ingram scores a touchdown in the red zone. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, which is unlikely because Jason Garrett literally might as well be a blind man in the red zone trying to freaking read Braille and call plays.
Don't even want to talk about that. That's why one of the things for the Giants tonight, one of the main things, they have to have some explosive plays. They need to score from deep, right? They need to have
Slayton's
like a 30. They need to have like a 30-yard touchdown.
One.
Yeah, they have to have a long touchdown in this game. Like, they need to create explosive plays because they're creating some explosive plays and then getting down inside the 5 or 10-yard line, and then they're just totally inept down there. They cannot score. Jason Garrett doesn't know how to call plays from that yard marker. So they need to create some explosive plays that turn into deep touchdowns. Whether that's a long run from Daniel Jones, a 40-yard run,
I would love
or whether that's
a 40-yard touchdown.
That would be great. That would be awesome. It's not likely, but it could be a 45-yard touchdown reception from Darius Slayton, from Kadarius Toney, something like that. They need to create some explosive touchdown plays.
I'd say it's not likely, but every week I feel like it's possible. You know what I mean? Like, every week I'm like, Daniel Jones could hit him with the read option and go 40, 50 yards for a score. Like, any moment, you really never know. And you know what? It's kind of weird, though, because, early in the season, the Knicks, there was that one game where he was just pulling off those read options like every other play. I think it was against Washington on Chase Young. Every other play, they were just hitting him with the read options. I don't know why they didn't do that more. You know what I mean? Like, if he just slides and goes down, like, he doesn't have to take those hits. He can still gain 5 to 10 yards on every single chance. You know what I mean? So I'm not exactly sure. I don't exactly sure, know why they don't do it more often. Instead, they're just kind of like, he just takes these hits, or, he tries to do too much on the end zone, on the goal line, and gets concussed. So, I don't know. I feel like Garrett, and also Anthony, I have to say the fade, the goal line fade, you're spot on. They need to axe that from the freaking playbook. The goal line fade.
Every single team needs to exit from the playbook. It's the worst play in football. It's the
Let me tell you,
stupidest play. It's the reason that the Cardinals lost on Thursday night. That play should have never been called.
yes,
You're leaving the game up to chance. What the Cardinals did, they threw a 50-50 ball, meaning you are leaving the game up to chance. And the coin went tails and they called heads. That's literally what happened. It was a 50-50 ball. And you really could just scheme a play like the Chiefs do. Anytime the Chiefs are on the 1 yard line, they have a perfect play scheme together. A shovel pass to Travis Kelce, and he walks into the end zone untouched. Every single time they're on the 1 yard line, they score because they always have something schemed together to where the odds are in their favor. They are scheming a play where they have an 80 to 20% chance rather than a 50-50. So the 50-50 jump balls, the goal line fades, got to get rid of them. They're just not a good football play, and they're so outdated at this point. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know what? I would love to see the Giants use Sterling Shepard like the Rams use Cooper Kupp. I think that using him in those bunch formations, those quick outs, those rub routes, getting him open that way, like the fact of the matter is like teams know the ball's going to Cooper Kupp in the red zone and they still can't stop it. Just literally, Jason Garrett, go watch a Rams game and copycat those plays. Like straight up, the entire league is a copycat league. Go and just look at what they're doing with Cooper Kupp and do the exact same thing with Sterling Shepard. Instead, they throw freaking jump balls to Kyle Rudolph in the end zone, who literally can't jump more than 2 feet. It's ridiculous. So I don't know. I just feel like the red zone is just so bad. I just think that there's so many better ways. Or the bubble screen to Kadarius Toney. I guarantee you, if the Giants run a bubble screen to Kadarius Toney today, and within the 5 yard line, they will score. I guarantee it. They will score. There is no way anyone is stopping him within that 5 yards. He's going to make 2 guys miss and score. Instead, they freaking run Devontae Booker up the middle from the 1 yard line 3 times in a row and then run Daniel Jones to die. Like, it's ridiculous. But guys, before we log off here and get ready to watch this game, I'll have my constant stream of tweets and highlights on Twitter as well. So if you're missing the game or if you want to see the highlights again, I'll be posting all the big moments and plays on Twitter. And of course, watching the Eli Manning cast and seeing what he's got to say. I'm pretty excited about that as well. But my friends, drop your score prediction one last time below. What do you think it's going to be? I'm going with the reverse jinx. Chiefs 34, Giants 26. Reverse jinx. I'm going with the Chiefs winning. So it's tough.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do any reverse jinx or anything. I'm just going to give you my flat out honest prediction. 35-25, Kansas City Chiefs win the game. I think that they win by more than one possession. I do think the Giants put up a good fight in the end. The Chiefs are struggling. Their defense isn't so good. So I do give the Giants over 20 points in this matchup. But ultimately, the Kansas City Chiefs offense is a lot to handle no matter what. It's still Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill. So I think they get 5 touchdowns, 35 points, and they beat the Giants 35-25.
5 touchdowns, 35 points, huh? 5 touchdowns. You think they have? Well, you think Darrell Williams gets 1 or 2 for my fantasy team, or you think it's all?
Hey man, I hope so. I guess I don't know.
All right, guys. Well, enjoy the game. We'll do a live. We might. Well, depending on if they win. If they win, we'll do a post game reaction. Either way. Hopefully it'll be enjoyable. We're not going to be sitting here at halftime like, damn it, we have another long night ahead of us. But hopefully our defense can step up. It's prime time, young Joka. I would love to get the ball first and set the tone. Don't let the Chiefs get the ball first and march right down the field. I think the Giants, if they have the opportunity, get the ball, have a long, nice drive, get the ball to your playmakers, get some momentum, especially at Arrowhead. It's going to be loud. It's going to be noisy. You really got to find ways to stifle the crowd and take them out of the game. So I think that's going to be a big part of how the Giants approach this one, guys. But enjoy the game. We'll catch you guys after and see you on social media.